Well, hello, everyone. This is Wilson Cole, and I'm president of Adams, Evans, and Ross. I want to spend a moment talking to you guys about a subject, and we're seeing more and more of this. And I don't know if there are trainers out there that have bad agreements, at least from a collection standpoint, or if people are just sharing, and that's typically what happens. One recruiter shares one with another recruiter, but we're starting to see these phrases um, in agreements that, from a collection standpoint, are absolutely horrible. Now, let me give a disclaimer. If you have paid an attorney in your home state to put together an agreement for you, and they have these two things that we're going to discuss, then I don't want you to take those out. Follow your attorney's advice because there may be reasons outside of collections why they would want that in there. And I'll kind of give an overview of the two things that I'm talking about. But one is, if your contract says anything about arbitration, or if your contract says anything about mediation, and especially if it's mandatory or non binding or binding or whatever, if it says mediation and arbitration, and it's an agreement that was not drawn up by your attorney specifically for you, I don't want you to use that agreement. From a collection standpoint, it's an absolute deal killer. Basically, let me kind of give you a kind of an overview of how we go through it. A company comes in, they go into the collections, it runs through our collection staff. Hopefully they pay. Most of the time they do. If they don't, we send it to our staff attorneys. Our staff attorneys will engage the debtor on your behalf. And then if we're still unsuccessful, 87% of the time we are, but 1 out of 8 we wouldn't be. And if we have to litigate, we have built a network of nationwide of attorneys that I can send it out to. Our California attorney, for example, has been our California attorney for almost 30 years. Our Florida attorney has been there for 15, 16 years that we forward to, and all the other states. They will handle it on a contingency basis. You just pay court cost. If it says arbitration, you have to go out, and typically you have to pay for half, the debtor has to pay for half, you have to hire an arbitrator. An arbitrator is going to cost you anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. It's almost like a private judge. And then the attorneys, because there's no way to enforce all of this, they're certainly not going to handle it on a contingency. They'll handle it on an hourly rate. So it's going to be another $2,000 to $5,000 just to go through arbitration. But here's the kicker: is if you win in arbitration and the debtor says, "Nah, I'm still not going to pay," then you still have to sue them. So you've created a step that is very expensive for you. And secondly, you're still going to have to sue if they refuse to pay, and most refuse to pay. If you're signing a vendor agreement from your client and it's got mediation and arbitration in there, I know I would not sign anything that had mediation or arbitration from a creditor relationship. I'm sure, with relationships that we've had with our bank or brokerage houses, there's always that mediation and arbitration words in there. And the reason they do that is to slow you down and to make it more expensive for you to sue. But on vendor client, industry stuff, I would never sign anything in there because I can tell you if it's from their agreement, they're going to use it in their favor. I can tell you, we have one in right now that has binding arbitration, mediation, or whatever, and they have a mediation attorney that's on retainer, and her job is to slow it down. We're a month and a half trying to get a meeting and an arbitration date, and they keep rolling it out. They have no desire to mediate or to arbitrate. They're just simply buying time in hopes that everybody goes away. If they refuse to finally go to mediation, you can force litigation through your attorney. But from a collection standpoint, it's a deal killer. So some of the reasons why your attorney, if your attorney's put it in there, leave it in there, because you may be, and I'm just going to use, for example, let's say you're supplying docs, or you're supplying nurses, or you're supplying something that has some liability or high liability back to your company. Your attorney may have looked at that and said, you know what, we kind of want to slow down any lawsuits and kind of create some barriers And so that makes sense. Now it's a balance. You're going to kind of hose yourself over on the collection standpoint, but in some of those agreements I've seen where the attorneys have made it to where if they refuse to pay, you can sue. If there's dispute on the candidates or any type of liability back, that's where you have the arbitration. But if you have pulled out an agreement and you see that it says mediation and arbitration on it, and you did not specifically have it prepared for you by your attorney, don't use it. Go find another agreement. I still say go hire an attorney to build your agreement. It'll be the best $1,000 that you spend all year. If you're one of our clients, we give you best practices agreements that you can use and take to your attorney and have them review it, because each state's just a little bit differently. I don't know how they view that. But if it says mediation or arbitration and it was not created by your attorney, don't use that agreement. Go find something else. If you have a collection, certainly reach out to us. Send me an instant message. My assistant's always watching on LinkedIn and Facebook. So if there's a message, IM me. We'd certainly love to work with you, and just keep watching. If there's issues that have been good for you with arbitration or mediation, please put it down in the comments. If there's a nightmare scenario, put that into the comments. Also, make sure that you subscribe so you're notified of new content every week that comes out. Thanks. Hey guys, it's Wilson again, and this video was brought to you by Adams, Evans, and Ross. And if you like the video, please make sure that you click on the subscribe button and also like the video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those below as well. If you'd like to learn more about our company, please visit our website at staffingdebt.com. And also remember, if there's no collection, there's absolutely no cost at all.